hair is a mess, my office is a mess, I'm a mess. Let's write. Hello everybody and welcome back to another writing vlog. It is a Monday, so I've got a lot of different things going on. It is about 10 o'clock in the morning. I have had a slightly slower start to the morning than I would have liked, but we're here. We're functional, we're doing it. I have a lot of different things to do today. However, I'm only going to be recording one of them, which is writing a short story. That's right, it's part 3 of the Magic Tea Shop short story. If you want to know what the hell I am talking about, you can go back to part 1 where I discuss the story a little bit more, like the idea behind it. But part 2, I think, is when we actually kind of get going with it. I have been meaning to read a little bit more in regards to it, but I have not had time. I have not had a moment. I keep thinking that this move is over. I keep thinking everything is settled, and then it's not. Something else will happen or something gets pushed back. It was all supposed to be sorted on Friday. It's not. But that's fine. That's life. That's just what happens sometimes. It's okay. It's okay. I'm telling you that I am okay. But basically, I have a couple of hours this morning to just write the short story. Basically, I kind of have the general idea of what I want to do with it. I have the general idea of the structure, but I don't really know specifics of where I'm going with it, which is not normally how I like to write. I am normally somebody that has, like, at least for the novels and stuff, I have every single scene laid out. I did that with my other short story as well. I had a little sketch out of what I wanted to happen, at least all the major scenes, what I wanted to have happen. I have a general idea of the kind of structure to the story that I want, but I think it's at least feeling a little bit more like a short play or something like that, and not necessarily a short story. I don't know if that makes any sense, because it's still a story. Anyway, I don't know. It's just not quite feeling right to me, and I think what happened the last time I was really struggling was that I was trying to approach things the way that I normally approach things. And one of the reasons why I like doing this short story series that I have been doing is that it is pushing me outside of my comfort zone. It is making me write and think differently than I normally do, whether that's because the genre is different or just the structure is different. It's making me write differently. It's making me think differently. And so I think I need to approach the writing differently as well, and that can sometimes be really hard to convince myself that that's what I quote-unquote should be doing. Essentially, what I'm getting at is normally I wouldn't feel comfortable starting to write until I, like, have everything sketched out. But I don't know if that's going to happen this time around. And my experience with planning the character was that I was doing things out of order, and I was kind of just running with stuff. Once something felt slightly more comfortable, I was like, well, then let's just do that, and then I'll kind of see where that takes me. And I think that's what I'm going to do for the rest of this story writing experience, is maybe be a little bit more of a pantser than I typically am. I mean, there's obviously always a certain amount of pantsing when it comes to writing, but I'm not normally this bad. But today, I think I have the character, I have a general idea, I have my setting, I even have, like, the extra, the supporting character that I want to use. I have all of that ready to go. I think I'm just gonna start writing, which sounds really crazy to me. And so I don't know how much of this I'm going to end up keeping. I don't know how much of this is going to end up being more of, like, a discovery writing experience, but I'm willing to go with it, and I think it'll be interesting to do. So I have until lunch, which I normally take at about 12:30, so that's about 2.5 hours. Let's see where we can get to in about 2.5 hours. Although I will be taking breaks to take care of laundry and bread. But you will not see that. So we'll have 2.5 hours, give or take a little bit, in order to do some other stuff. But yeah, I think we're just gonna dive right in. We're gonna give myself the grace of discovery. I think that's what we're gonna do. All right, so anyway, we should stop talking and we should get to writing, because that's what we're here to do. Let's write. Okay, so it's been about a little over an hour. I have, how many words? I hate how Google Docs doesn't do word count. I have 2,071 words done so far. I'm nearing, I'm not at it, but I am nearing the point in the storytelling structure where you do a twist. This is not a twist in the Western sense. I'm doing a Kisho Tenketsu style structure. Again, go check out the first section if you are wanting to know a little bit more about what the hell I am talking about. But basically in this structure, the twist isn't necessarily like a complete twist, but it's more of like an altering of perspectives. It's a moment where things kind of change, whether that is from the perspective of the viewer or the perspective of the character. You know, it's a moment of alteration. So I am nearing that point. And this is when I would have really preferred to have some kind of an idea of what I have. So let me show you, for example, what I'm talking about. Welcome to my computer screen. I was gonna do a screen recording, but I just have to set up a lot of other shit and I'm not doing it. Anyway, this is my scenes that I have sketched out. So I've got like my intro, my development with each of the things. I'm kind of wrapping up this bit here, which means that I am going into this, which is the twist. So basically what I've done is having interruptions to a conversation. So interruption 1, interruption 2, and then this is going to be interruption 3. So I'm wrapping up interruption 2 at the moment, and I have nothing written here except the words interruption 3. That's it. That's all I have. To be fair to me, most of the other things that I have written in these sections where I have like the interruption and a bit afterwards is more about how the main character is going to react to like that interruption, how she feels about it, and how she therefore reacts to seeing what she's seeing or having the interruption. And I don't really have that for 3. So I did kind of make up what the other 2 were, like as I was writing it. But the third one, I think I don't know. I think I'm just trying to kind of figure out what it is that I want to happen, or whether it's herself interrupting herself, if that makes sense. I don't know. I'm at a weird point. So I currently am sitting at, like I said, about just over 2,000 words, and I have just about an hour. I don't know why I feel so out of sorts with this short story. I just don't know why. Last one felt a lot easier than this, but I am having a lot of fun with it. It's weird pantsing. I'll talk a little bit more about it in the conclusion, but I'm just gonna say here, this is strange to me. All right. It is now 12 o'clock, so it's been 2 hours. And I have what I think is at least a full rough draft. I am not sure how I feel about it yet. It was definitely more pantsy than I am used to writing, as I have mentioned before. So I think I need time to like sit with it and think about it and maybe reread it in like a couple of days when it's slightly fallen out of my brain in order to figure out how I feel about it. I don't know if I quite nailed the twist in the way that I want, but I definitely nailed, I think, the structure fairly decently. All right. Let's hope with that. The tripod looks like it is about to fall any second now. I'm sure it's fine. Word count. It is shorter than the other short story that I did, the Leadenhall one. This one is 3,017 words. So that's how much I did today. Oh, I can just do that. Oh, I'm so dumb. Yeah, so 3,017 words for a rough draft that I may or may not keep. I think that's pretty good. So let's talk a little bit about what just happened. So like I said, I'm a much more of a planner than a pantser when it comes to writing. I prefer having everything really, really sketched out. I don't know how much of that comes from the nonfiction background where you normally have like a load of research done and you know how that argument should flow, and it's really hard to pants like researched academic nonfiction. Like it's just maybe people do that. If you do that, let me know. But I've not heard of that before. That sounds insane to me, but maybe someone does it. But anyway, I think I have that a little bit still in me when I do, even when I'm doing fiction, that I feel the need to have everything kind of researched and laid out and ready to go and structured, and I know where I'm going to make essentially an argument. I think fiction can kind of do the same thing of making an argument. So that's what I'm used to doing. This is the first time that I've kind of gone in without too much of a plan. Like I said, though, I still had quite a plan. Like it wasn't like a full pantsing moment where I'm like, whatever, this is my idea, let's just go. Like I still had my character laid out. I had two main characters in the story. So it was my main character that I figured out in a previous video, as well as the proprietor of the tea shop. So I had them both in the story kind of interacting with each other. So I had those two kind of more or less figured out in my brain. I had the structure, the loose structure sketched out because I knew I was going to use a Kisho Tenketsu structure. So that kind of helps to establish at least a rough idea of where the structure is going, and I had an idea of how I was going to follow that structure. But I didn't really have any scenes specifically laid out. I didn't have any like primary ideas of what exactly was going to happen in the story. So I did plan, just not as much as I normally do. And I'm sure that the amount that I did is still like a lot compared to some other people. But it was not a lot for me, and I appreciated the experience. I think there's a certain amount of pantsing that is sometimes nice. It allows the story to kind of unfold in a way that made sense. There were times where I wanted to stop and think about things, but I didn't edit what I had already written. I just kind of said, well, if it was going to continue from this point, what would make sense? And kind of kept going. And maybe, you know, in another world, I would have gone back and edited it. But it was kind of nice to think about it as one cohesive, holistic piece that you don't go back and edit. I will go back and edit, don't you worry. But just thinking about it in that sense was a very different way of thinking about writing than I'm used to doing and thinking about. It was a fun experience. And I think I like a lot of it. The 3 interruptions I have, I think are nice, particularly because I end with one that is way lower stakes. So there's 2 kind of higher stakes one and then 1 really low stakes one. And that's kind of what I wanted to do, to bring attention and an understanding of stakes, even when it is incomparable. Because I think sometimes we compare ourselves a lot to other people and, oh, well, I'm not allowed to be stressed because of somebody else is going through a much more stressful experience, but you're allowed to still be stressed, even if someone else is also stressed. Like, that's fine. You're allowed that. And I wanted to explore that by having the ending interruption be a way low stakes interruption in comparison to the other two. However, the reason why that moment is a twist, I don't think was fully explored properly, both in the writing as well as by myself. We're both at fault. So it might be fun for me to like meditate on my own writing and think about like, what does that mean? And does it mean anything? Or is this just a thing that I threw in and now I'm trying to make meaning out of it? You know what I mean? Anyway, that's something to kind of dwell on, but I am really happy with what I have from this. I am planning on, I think before I go back to relook at this, of doing a little bit of reading. There's a couple of suggestions that came in on the first video, as well as some that I have kind of gathered separately, and I think it might be interesting to read those and then go back and edit, because I did want to do this first one without having done reading research, because I kind of wanted to just see what was in my brain pure, and then I can educate myself and then go back and edit with that in mind. I think that's what we're gonna do. I just don't know how much time I'm gonna devote to that. We'll see how much I can get done reading wise in a much shorter amount of time, but we're gonna do our best. That's it for this morning. It is now 12:15, so I'm gonna go and get lunch and then do the other work that I have to do off camera. But 3017 words is pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that, and I have a full rough draft, so pretty excited about that. Thank you so much for being with me today. Really enjoy having you here with me, and let me know what you're working on and how things are progressing. Are you a planner or a pantser? Is what I did technically considered pantsing, or would like most of you pantsers be like, what are you talking about? You have basically planned the whole thing. I'm curious because I have only ever really detailed planned, so I'm curious as to where everyone lies like on that spectrum. So yeah, let me know. Are you a planner or a pantser? Somewhere in between? What level of planning do you do? I will talk to you next time. Bye!